are listening to the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the internet.
Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm talking about more haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website. And that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. And there are many ways to support the show. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts there, along with some other items with designs made by friends of the show. And please follow friends of the show, including Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show on Saturdays whenever she's able to join me. And Ricky of the Anything is Possible podcast, who has a show on Sundays, among other shows. But I join him for his shows on Sundays, talk all things paranormal. And Michael Strange, host of Trouble Minds Radio, which I call into fairly often. And the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own online 24/7 for free. A couple of things to note about these haunted places shows. How I do it is I get a summary written up, generated by a web search online through AI and everything, and I include articles as sources for you all to check out, and look at more information for yourselves, and look at pictures and things that I can't share on an audio-only format of a show. And please be aware that articles are published and then are not always updated. So if you are thinking about visiting any place I talk about in these shows, please make sure it is okay to do so and find out how and when and all the details on that before trying to go there to visit, because I do not ever recommend trespassing for any reason, and there's many reasons for that. So let me get to the material here again. We are still in Massachusetts, although I imagine we're probably getting close to being done with that state, because I didn't make this is not an exhaustive list of haunted places in every state, because I don't know how long that list would be. It may seem like it's already a long list, but I can promise you it's not. What I'm doing in this series, even with as many as I've shared and as many shows as it's been, it could be so much longer if I try to do an exhaustive list, series on this whole topic. So let's see here. Let's get to the next location here. And that would be the Omni Parker Hotel in Boston. I'm sorry, Omni Parker House in Boston. And this is in Massachusetts. It's one of America's most storied hotels, celebrated for both its historical legacy and its enduring reputation as one of the most haunted places in New England. History. The hotel opened in 1855, founded by Harvey D. Parker, a Maine native who had arrived in Boston in 1825 seeking opportunity. After building success with a restaurant, Parker partnered with John E. Hunt to establish a hotel based on the European plan, excuse me, which separated the cost of lodging from meals, an innovation in America at the time. Its restaurant soon became famous for signature creations such as the Boston cream pie and Parker House rolls. The Parker House's location at the intersection of School and Tremont streets placed it at the heart of Boston's cultural and political life. In the 19th century, it hosted the, in quotation marks, Saturday Club, in quotation marks, a gathering of literary figures including Ralph Waldo Emerson, if I can talk, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry Wadsworth, Wadsworth Longfellow, and Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr. Charles Dickens stayed there for 5 months in the 1860s and performed public readings of A Christmas Carol at the hotel. Over its long operation, the Parker House has been visited by presidents such as Ulysses S. Grant, Franklin D. Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, and William J. Clinton, so Bill Clinton. Kennedy announced his congressional candidacy and later proposed to Jacqueline Bouvier, I think it is, at the hotel in 1946. The original Italianate L structure was replaced with the current classical design in 1927. Hauntings. Stories of paranormal activity at the Omni Parker House date back to, or at least to the mid-20th century, with many accounts centering on the ghost of its founder, Harvey Parker. Parker, who died in 1884, is said to still roam the halls, especially the 10th floor annex, near room 1078, where guests and staff have reported seeing his apparition, a heavy-set man with a mustache, dressed in 19th century clothing. Other commonly reported phenomena include whispering voices outside guest room doors, especially near the 10th floor, with no one visible when doors are opened. Elevators that mysteriously travel to the 3rd floor, where Charles Dickens once stayed, without being called. That's fascinating. Lots of hotels and places like that. Some hospitals too. The elevators will just operate on their own, or seemingly on their own. Room 303, once occupied by a long-term guest known for whiskey and cigar habits, is now linked to the unexplainable odors of cigar smoke and alcohol long after cleaning. A shadow figure wearing a stovepipe hat has been seen in the Bosworth section of the hotel, the oldest part of the structure. Guests on the 10th floor have reported hearing the sound of a rocking chair, despite none being present. Orbs of light have been spotted, shifting through hallways before vanishing. The ghostly image of Harvey Parker has reportedly appeared to guests, including one young woman who recognized him from his portrait in the hotel's restaurant the next morning. Some stories also involve the lingering presence of Charles Dickens, that's fascinating, whose fondness for whiskey and cigars may explain phantom smells attributed to him, suggesting multiple spectral residents within the building. Today, the Omni Parker House remains both an operating luxury hotel and a destination for history buffs and ghost hunters alike, blending Boston's literary heritage with spectral lore that has persisted for more than a century. So, hotels, another one of those common hotspots of paranormal activity. Uh, so, let me see here. Another type of place that is fairly, seems to have a lot of activity fairly often is a hospital. This is the Metropolitan State Hospital in Waltham. I'll say Waltham. I don't know. Um, the Metropolitan State Hospital in Waltham, Massachusetts, opened in 1930 and was once the largest and most modern mental health facility in New England. It was built following. I'm laughing there because I totally screwed up that mental health. It was built following Massachusetts legislation mandating state care for the mentally ill, and designed in the colonial revival style by architect Gordon Robb. At its peak, it housed nearly 2,000 patients. The hospital's construction continued until 1935, with some stages supervised by the Works Progress Administration. It treated both mental health and general health problems and was part of a broader state hospital system serving the Boston metropolitan area. The institution closed in 1992 amid deinstitutionalization, quite the word, efforts, when many large state mental hospitals shut down to move patients into smaller group settings. The hospital's history is controversial due to allegations of neglect, staff abuse, and violence within the facility. Goes into examples here. We're not going to cover that except to say there were murders. The hospital, or at least a murder, the hospital grounds included a cemetery where many patients were buried, often in unmarked graves or basic caskets with minimal markers, reflecting the era's stigma and neglect of institutionalized individuals. Visitors and former staff have reported unexplained phenomena such as eerie sounds, apparitions, and sudden temperature changes within the hospital buildings, contributing to its reputation as a haunted site. Some original buildings remain abandoned while others have been repurposed, including a portion of the property converted into residential apartments. I've heard of that with larger properties before, where when you have many, many buildings, their parts are converted into different things, which makes me wonder about paranormal activity in those modern day apartments. The haunting reports, combined with the tragic and often neglected history of those who lived and died there, have made the Metropolitan State Hospital a place of interest for paranormal enthusiasts and those studying the history of mental health care in Massachusetts. So that is the last location for Massachusetts that I have. Excuse me. And now we are getting into my own home area, my own home state. Getting into Michigan. Looks like this next one will probably take us through to the end of the show. This is, some of you may have heard of this, maybe not sure. I know I have since I started looking into all these topics. This is the Traverse City State Hospital in Michigan, which was originally known as the Northern Michigan Asylum, and it is one of the state's. Oh, my mouse pad keeps moving. That's It's in here. Anyway, think of my hand resting on it. So it's known as, let me see here. I lost my spot. Okay. So it's one of the state's most architecturally significant and paranormally famous sites. It combines over a century of psychiatric care history with enduring legends of haunting and tragedy. Historical background. Founded in 1881 and opened in 1885, the facility was established to ease overcrowding at Michigan's other asylums in Kalamazoo and Pontiac. The hospital was designed under the Kirkbride Plan, a popular 19th century model for mental health institutions that emphasized light, air, symmetry, and beauty as elements of therapeutic architecture. Its first superintendent, Dr. James Decker Munson, introduced a pioneering approach called Beauty is Therapy, believing that humane treatment, nature, and aesthetics could heal troubled minds. Oh, I've never heard that troubled minds phrase before. Restraints were banned. Instead, patients worked on the asylum's vast self-sufficient farms and participated in crafts, gardening, and animal care. At its peak, the hospital included more than 1.4 million square feet of facilities and served nearly 3,000 patients across 39 counties, including Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Yeah, because it is a little ways up there. I'm in southeast Michigan. That's definitely a ways further up there. It grew into the largest employer in Traverse City, with its own dairy herd, greenhouses, and canning operations. Following changes in mental health care policy, the introduction of medication-based treatments and decreased reliance on large institutions, the hospital closed in 1989 after 104 years of continuous operation. Today, its main buildings have been redeveloped into the village at Grand Traverse Commons, a mixed-use complex of shops, restaurants, offices, and residences, preserving much of the original Victorian Italianate architecture. Again, you have a former medical facility here being used for other things, which makes me wonder about activity there after the fact. Given its long and, so the next section here is reported hauntings. Given its long and often melancholic history, the Traverse City State Hospital has become one of Michigan's most haunted locations. Paranormal stories abound, often centering around its underground tunnels, unrenovated wings of buildings, I guess, and nearby forested areas. Commonly reported phenomena include voices and footsteps. Visitors and workers claim to hear bodiless whispers, footsteps echoing in empty corridors, and urgent voices on recordings telling them to leave. It's always something I wonder about, feel bad about when it comes to these kind of places where how many people are there that we just can't see and they're just getting tired of people being there. Anyway, apparitions and shadows. Shadowy figures are said to appear in darkened rooms or along the underground service tunnels connecting the old medical buildings. temperature drops and sensations. Sudden drops in temperature and strong feelings of being watched are frequent, particularly near the old laundry room and unrenovated wards. The priest's ghost. One enduring legend involves a priest who allegedly died in the asylum chapel, leaving behind lingering spiritual unrest. Let's see here. I'm going to look at this here. So there's a legend of what's called the hippie tree legend. Deep in the nearby woods stands the so-called hippie tree, rumored to be a portal to hell. Lovely. Local lore warns that those who circle it the right way vanish without a trace. Many visitors report oppressive energy or inexplicable dread in its vicinity. So I wonder how much of that legend is just based on those feelings, or how much of those feelings are based on that legend. Excuse me. Says some theories suggest that the spirits tied to the area are those of former patients who perished after being released when the hospital closed, many of whom were unable to survive the harsh Michigan winters. Urban explorers and paranormal investigators continue to visit the site, capturing alleged electronic voice phenomenon, EVP. That is where you don't hear anything with your ears, but you record with devices. Excuse me. And you get voices or sounds you don't expect. And so that's always a fascinating situation there. And unexplained lights in abandoned wings. Legacy and modern status. While the hospital's past includes thousands of personal stories of treatment, confinement, and recovery, and now symbolizes both the changing philosophy of psychiatric care and Traverse City's adaptive reuse of historic structures. The redeveloped village at Grand Traverse Commons still honors its former life with historic tours that share both historical and supernatural tales, maintaining the mystery that keeps the site one of Michigan's most legendary haunted landmarks. So that is definitely all we can do in this episode here. So next time we'll continue more with Michigan. And I would like to visit that location someday. I've heard about it a lot and read about it here and there. And I think it'd be fascinating to visit the area and see if I sense anything. But so another hospital that's been renovated and parts of it have been changed. And you hear about this with places like that are formerly hospitals of any kind, really, but especially mental health facilities where, whether it's residual or not, there seem to be presences there that just want to be left alone. And it's sad that these areas can't just be left alone. They have to be used for different things when maybe they should just be, I don't know, maybe I'm not saying I know anything, but maybe some of these places should be left alone more. Or at least, maybe not left to fall apart, but at least be respected more and maintained, but then just left empty. But I know that's not the way the world works, unfortunately. But that is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal.